My name is Barbara Lyman, and I work here at the Northern Mariposa County History Center, and it is a town museum, and we hopefully get more people that are interested in Highway 49 rather than going to Yosemite to stop here. We have exhibits done by local people, artifacts that were donated by local families. My family goes back 5 generations here in town, so we try to keep up as much as we can on the people of the town rather than the gold mining era. We have here, this is a display from William Kirk. He was a welder in Yosemite for years. It was his hobby. He's done quite a few of the buggies, the different types of industry that were here, the farming, the mining, the lumber. And we get a lot of people that are interested in his work. We also, since we were a mining town, and it was a large mining town, people are interested in the gold that came out, and there were 200 hard rock mines within 20 miles of town, is why it was a large town at one time. Quite a bit of gold mining coming out. We have quite a few interesting exhibits. The diorama here was built for us by Dr. Braun. It's a replica of what this building that I'm in looked like before the 1899 fire. The hotel structure here, the whole bottom floor started out as the McCarthy home. He was the Wells Fargo agent and the pharmacist here. He sold it to Percy Davis, who added the upstairs on for a hotel. The section over here is what the old Wells Fargo office looked like. We have many artifacts from the McCarthy family. Photos, his Wells Fargo badges, and things that were of the era. Dr. Braun spent 4,000 hours building this for us and then donated it to the museum, which we are quite proud of. The fires here in town were odd because they were in 20-year intervals. We had a fire in 59, 79, and 99. Nowadays we worry about forest fires, but back then these were just careless house fires. Somebody would drop a kerosene lantern and it would start a fire, but because the town was so huge, there were a lot of buildings side by side, and of course the water service was different. They had to fight the fires with a bucket brigade, not fire engines or overhead airplanes that were dropping chemicals to put out the fire. So we are quite proud that really the town never burnt to the ground. One fire burnt one side of town. The next 20 years it would burn the other side. And even with this structure here, when the upper structure of this hotel burnt, it never destroyed the roof even of this site. So for an old-fashioned bucket brigade to put out a fire and not have it spread all over was quite interesting. Yeah, most of the buildings back then were wood, so that caught on fire. What they did with the pharmacy here, there's 2 foot of dirt in the attic, so that even if the building caught on fire, it would drop into the dirt and not go inside the building to destroy a rock building. So they finally got ingenious and made it so a lot of the buildings were basically fireproof. We had a fire here, it's been about almost 20 years ago, where one of the buildings they had restored, but they took out the dirt in the attic, and the fire from the building next door went right into the building and burnt it. If they would have left the dirt and everything inside, the fire wouldn't have transferred into that building. So, you know, a lot of people think that they used it just strictly for insulation, but it was to prevent the fires too. And then, of course, later on they built a lot of the buildings out of brick and stone and rock rather than wood. Okay. We do not charge for our museum because we would prefer that people would come in and see it. But we do accept donations. We also encourage people to join as a member. The fees are quite nominal, and we would prefer that people could see what the history of the town is rather than charging people and families figuring they don't have enough money to come in and see everything. So, yeah. And one of the other things we do is every year we change most of the exhibits in here, which we close in January and I redo and put out. We have a different pioneer family that we will set up. We do the displays on the Indians that were here, because California at one time belonged to Mexico. We don't have any Mexican relics, but we do have a lot of the Indian artifacts that the old families have donated to the museum, which is quite nice. The Chinese also, the Sun Cow family and the Murray family have left a lot of their Chinese relics to the town because their parents were treated quite well here. Mao's son came from China in 1850 and started a business here, and our Chinese population at one time was up to 1,000 people. But the family was treated so well here that they left their jackets, their wedding banner, family artifacts, and have them on display at the museum. Yeah, Dorothy has just passed away and was the last of the Chinese that was born here in Coulterville. But she also, from here, they moved down into the Locke and Ileton area. And then when her mother died, she went to San Francisco and worked at the Forbidden City as a dancer, and was quite known back during World War II as a USO entertainer. So that was quite nice that she would want everything to stay here in town. One of the things, because of your family being here for so many generations, everybody's related one way or the other, because back then people didn't travel as far as they do now. This year we had featured the Converse family, and Lyle Converse, which was the great-grandson of John Converse, his mother actually was my great-aunt. But this coming year, for 2008, we will feature what we call the John Roberts and John Murphy family, which is who I'm descended from. And for 5 generations, there's been somebody in the family living here in this town. So hopefully we will get more people to come through to see all the different things.
So your first family member who came here for gold?
Yes, John Roberts was a mining engineer, and he was captain of the Mary Harrison mine here. And his daughter married John Murphy, who was the justice of the peace and the judge here in town. So other than those two, the rest of them just either worked the mines or were here running cattle. So our museum is located on the corner of Highway 132 and 49 in Coulterville, California. Our hours are from 9 to 4, Wednesday through Sunday. If you have a group that comes in and wants to come through on a Monday or Tuesday, we have a girl in the office that will gladly open up the museum and show it to people. We hope, that we don't turn anybody away if they're coming through town at an odd day, so we will do that for them.